The first question is, fans in America have become more familiar with Stamp's name in the last few years, but many probably don't know her background. She was actually raised in a Muay Thai training camp by her father is a camp that her uncle owned. Talk to me about that. What makes growing up in a Muay Thai camp different? Is life in a Muay Thai camp, Muay Thai all the time, day and night? Can it be difficult and you don't get to be like a regular kid, or was it really fun and it builds a lot of character and toughness in a young
ก็
child?
มันเป็นเอ่อเขาเรียกว่าอะไรมันเป็นเหมือนกีฬาในชุมชนในหมู่บ้านนะคะมันก็จะแบบวนเวียนกันอยู่แค่เนี้ยไปไหนก็ไปกับพวกพ้องก็จะเป็นนักมวยเราก็เลยตามกลุ่มไปประมาณนี้มันก็สนุกในกลุ่มของเราอ่ะ
โดยส่วนใหญ่เป็นผู้ชาย
ใช่
Well, she said it's kind of when she was young, it's kind of like a community sport combat because like she mentioned that almost of everyone in the village like train Muay Thai like and then she always hang out with those Muay Thai trainers and then that's why she's become training Muay Thai since very young time.
The current one atomweight Muay Thai and kickboxing champion is part of like this recent move back into MMA because there aren't really any obvious contenders for her in Muay Thai and kickboxing, or is there a desire and from the promotion to see her be in MMA so she can become a three-sport champion? Essentially, is there contenders for her at Muay Thai and kickboxing or not?
ก็เราเริ่มต้นเราจะต่อย MMA แต่เนื่องด้วยเนี่ยคุณชาตรีเขายื่นโอกาสมาให้เราว่าจะต่อยคิกบ็อกซิ่งไหมกับมวยไทยไหมเราถึงได้รับวันนั้น
ก็คือมือจับกัน
ใช่
Okay. Well, she mentioned since she starts training, come to training at Fairtex. At the first, she comes start as a MMA training in Fairtex. But whenever one championship contact her to compete in one championship, we give her an opportunity to compete in kickboxing and Muay Thai because she already had a background and then experience in that. More than MMA because she was training since her very young age. So this is quite a big opportunity for her to come to the global stage. So she just don't want to miss the chance, and then finally she become a champion, something like that. But แล้วก็เขาถามว่าที่จะมา MMA เนี่ยเป็นเพราะอะไร
เพราะอะไรก็ที่ค่ายเขาอยากปั้น MMA ไงเราก็เลยมา
แล้วอยากเป็นแชมเปี้ยนทั้งสามเส้นเลย
ใช่ตอนเนี้ยใช่
Well, there are two reasons that why she compete in MMA. The first reason is because of when she trains she train in Fairtex. In Fairtex, want to like create her as a MMA artist, female icon as well. The second is right now she's already the champion in both two. One is Muay Thai and the second is kickboxing, and then she aimed right now her highest goal is to become a champion in MMA, okay. So she can cover all three champions.
I wanted to go back to her fight in August. Before we talk about this next fight coming up, the fight with Asha Roka was her first MMA fight in over a year, and it was an outstanding performance. To the surprise of no one, she did very well and dominated in the striking, but also landed several takedowns. Showed some great control, and then got a submission victory at the end of the fight. After a year away from mixed martial arts, competing in mixed martial arts, how pleased was she with her performance, and in her mind could it have gone any better than it did because it went really well?
ก็รู้สึกภูมิใจตัวเองค่ะแล้วก็แบบมันเป็นการเปิดตัวเราก็อยากโชว์ของให้ดูแล้วก็ถามว่าไฟนั้นมันก็ดีไหมดีสำหรับหนูแต่ว่ามันดีไม่พอประมาณนั้น
เป็นครั้งแรกถูกไหม
ใช่เป็นครั้งแรก
อันนี้ทั้งแข่งทั้งหมดเลยอันนี้คือครั้งแรกจากที่เคยมาสอง
ที่ใหญ่สุด
ที่ใหญ่สุด
ใช่เพราะว่าหนูต่อยวันวอลเลเยอร์มา
โอเค well she said she's quite proud of herself on her first debut in let's say the biggest MMA competitions because if like you count one warrior series, she compete in the MMA I fight before in one warrior series in the past 2 years, right? And then but last time it was just like the biggest one, and then the biggest performance in her MMA career, and then she knows that she did it well, but she feel that but not the best one on her. She have something to show
Yeah.
to all the audience around the world more, and then she hope to do it better this Friday with Bi Nguyen.
When for this fight coming up with B, and I'm sure even the fight before, a lot of people will probably question her grappling and her wrestling ability because she's known for her striking, her Muay Thai and her kickboxing. How much in of her camps that are about MMA are focused on grappling and the wrestling? Like, would she say 60% of a camp for MMA has a lot of grappling because her striking is already so good? Is it more than 60%? Like, because people want to know how good is she getting at her wrestling? How much does she work on it all the time now?
จะซ้อมทุกเช้า MMA อ่ะแต่ว่ามันจะแบ่งวันเหมือนแบบว่าวันจันทร์กับวันพฤหัสเนี่ยจะซ้อมเอ่อมวยปั้มกลางคืนก็ซ้อม BJJ แต่ว่าจันทร์ถึงศุกร์เนี่ยมันก็จะแบบมันรวมไปหมดแหละมวยปั้ม BJJ มันรวมไปหมดนั่นแหละก็คือพูดถึงเปอร์เซ็นต์มันก็100%อ่ะที่มันซ้อมอ่ะ
ก็คือเทียบเท่ากับมวยไทยเลย
ใช่
ใช่ไหมในจันทร์ถึงศุกร์อะไรเงี้ยเพียงแต่ว่าพี่ใช้คำนี้ได้ไหมก็คือว่าตอนเช้าช่วง9 โมงถึงเที่ยงอะไรเงี้ยก็คือซ้อม
เที่ยงเลยเหรอ
เท่าไหร่
8 โมงครึ่ง10
8 โมงครึ่งถึง10 โมงก็คือซ้อม
MMA
โอเค
กับมวยปั้มนั่นแหละ
แล้วก็ตอนเย็นซ้อม
6 โมงครึ่งถึง2 ทุ่มก็จะเป็น BJJ ตอนนี้ก็มวยไทย
โอเคงั้นพี่พูดอย่างนี้นะก็คือว่าตอนเช้าซ้อมเป็นMMA ให้she mentioned that like if she comparing to the percentage is going to be like 100% because in a day in Fairtex her schedule is like in the morning she train in MMA in the morning from 8:30 to 10 a.m.
Okay.
and then in the evening she always train BJJ from กี่โมงนะ
BJJ เหรอ6 โมงครึ่งถึง2 ทุ่ม
6:30 to 8 p.m. Yeah, but not every day. Like for example, Monday and Thursday, in the morning she train an MMA and wrestling in the morning. Yeah, and then in the evening, sometimes BJJ and then sometimes Muay Thai.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
her opponent.
It's going to be like 100% on the both striking, wrestling, and grappling.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Now, her opponent Bi Nguyen likes to stand and strike and trade. Her style is not about being a dominant grappler. It's not about wrestling too much for Bi Nguyen. Would it be a bad decision in Stamp's opinion for B to stand and trade with her? In Stamp's mind, is her only is B's only way to win is she has to take her down. There's no way she can beat her by standing.
มาแบบคอมโบเราแล้วก็เทคดาวน์เราลงเพราะว่าเขาเหมือนให้สัมภาษณ์ว่าเขาจะลงไปนอนกับพื้นแล้วต่อยเราประมาณนี้เพราะว่าเขาสู้เหมือนแบบสู้เกมยืนเราไม่ได้เขาก็จะเอาเราลงเราก็เลยต้องป้องกันการเทคดาวน์
แล้วคิดว่าป้องกันได้
น่าจะ
she said like well earlier she listened to Bi Nguyen like give an interview as well to some of the media, and then she knows that Bi Nguyen like mentioned that she Stamp is quite stronger and then better on the striking, and that he is trying to looking for an opportunity to take the Stamp down this Friday, and then so that's why Stamp like need to like be very well prepared on like on that point, and never like have a B to take her down.
What is Stamp's opinion of B's grappling when like her coaches have watched video on B? Does she think her grappling is good from what you've seen, or does Stamp feel that if the fight does go to the ground for grappling, that she might surprise us all again and maybe submit B in their fight on Friday?
มีโอกาสค่ะแต่ว่าเหมือนแบบถ้าเราป้องกันดีมันก็ยากสำหรับเขาแต่ว่าถ้าลงไปก็เราก็ ถามว่าพื้นฐาน BJJ เราก็มีมากแต่ก็มีไม่ได้มากแต่ก็ไม่ได้น้อยอ่ะแต่ก็คือป้องกันได้อยู่ก็เอาตัวรอดได้
โอเคแล้วก็คิดว่าตัวเองเนี่ยจะเซอร์ไพรส์คนดูอีกไหมเหมือนคราวที่
อันนี้
แล้ว
ต้องดูรูปเกมว่าเราต้องไปยังไง
Okay, she mentioned, well, actually, let's say for this Friday night, but after me and the coach saw the several previous fights of Bi Nguyen, and she said like it's possible, of course, that she can take me down in case of she got any chance. But somehow I also have and training BJJ for a while for several years, and then I think I can defend myself as well, even when she take her down. So we will need to see this Friday. I'll try to looking for opportunity to surprise the audience as well.
Now, One Championship tweeted, I think maybe a week or so ago, that the winner of this fight could very well be, get another win closer to facing Angela Lee. Does Stamp feel that if she wins, she very well could get a chance against Angela Lee and her championship at atomweight and MMA, or does she feel she might need to win another fight or two before she ends up facing Angela Lee?
เพราะว่ามันเร็วไปสำหรับที่ว่าจะไปชิงเขาอ่ะมันยังเร็วไป
Well, she mentioned that she might need like to compete in several 2-3 bouts more, like because it was too soon to for her to step up into the MMA atomweight world champion bout with Angela Lee. Yeah, she needs more experience on that, a few more bouts.
All right, I respect the honesty. Now that but let's move a little forward and think about the possibility. How does she feel if that fight does happen, maybe 2020 next year or something like that? How does she feel she matches up with Angela in a hypothetical fight? Because she has a big advantage in the standing. Angela has a big advantage in the grappling. If they were to fight, does she think her grappling is good enough to handle Angela's grappling, even better than Angela would be able to handle her striking?
เหมือนแบบเรามีความภูมิใจที่ได้ต่อยกับไอดอลพี่แล้วก็เราก็ต้องแบบเรียนรู้เขาอ่ะเพราะว่าเขาเก่งไม่ใช่ว่าถ้ายืนเขาจะไม่เป็นเลยเขาก็เป็นเราก็เหมือนแบบเราก็ต้องเรียนรู้เขามากขึ้นแล้วก็สยบเขาให้ได้
Well, it is คือยังไงอ่ะมันเขาเรียกเป็น big dream ได้ปะคือมันเป็นแบบ
Big Dream ไปในฝันแหละ
it's like, well, if it's happened next year, really, it's going to be her biggest dream because Angela Lee is one of her idol in martial artists, female martial artists, and yes. So what she can do right now is just trying to training hard and then just like need to prepare by studying Angela Lee on her previous fight because it doesn't mean like she is only great on the grappling or wrestling, but she also can do on striking as well. She's like kind of a one of the well-rounded athletes in the previous fights. She's quite great. So just like sometimes she feel like she's hoping this to happen as well like, while she keeps training.
Yeah. I mean, after this fight, now the question is the plan to do, because this will be her second straight MMA fight. Is the plan to do a third MMA fight, or does she need to go back and defend either her kickboxing or her Muay Thai titles? What would be next after this? Is it going to be MMA? Is it going to be defending her two championships?
แล้วแต่โอกาสค่ะแล้วก็ถ้าอยากให้เลือกคืออยากตอนนี้อยากโฟกัส MMA ได้เหมือนก้าวกระโดดไป
Well, there are two parts. She mentioned that she say like well, depends on the opportunity because she is willing to compete in all three, both kickboxing, Muay Thai, and MMA. But currently, if you ask her, she would like to focus on only MMA first because she want to be step up a little bit more to be in that stage. I mean, like a bigger stage in MMA.
Yeah. If One Championship though comes to her with a fight in kickboxing or Muay Thai that maybe she's not that interested in, but she'd rather do MMA, would she vacate one of her titles, or would she take the fight because the goal is to be a three division champion, so she, has to keep holding on to her titles?
ว่าเขาจะรับไหมหรือเขาจะ
แล้วเอาตัวเองเนี่ยเอาตัวเอง
ถ้าหนูถ้ารับก็คือต้องซ้อมให้หนักเพราะว่าดูแล้วคาดกันน่าจะได้ต่อยกับเจเน็ตทอป
มวยไทยใช่ไหม
ใช่เพราะได้มีใครแล้วหนูมองเจเน็ตทอสอยู่คนเดียวเลยตอนนี้
okay she mentioned like well if it's come I will just take it but what I think so far in terms of Muay Thai because right now I don't see any other opponent to compete with me only Janet Todd yeah, because she was thinking like maybe in the future maybe she can rematch again with Janet Todd one more time for the defense her Muay Thai world title again with her, but she will take it. But need to train even more harder.
Now, the last question I have is, has life changed for her in Thailand? Because she's become a two sport champion. She's building her fame, and maybe because, for example, Ong La and Song, he's a two division champion in MMA, and in Myanmar, he's become like a big time sports idol and like a role model to people in Myanmar. Has something similar happened to her in Thailand because of her fame and all of her success in these different sports, combat sports? Is she becoming like a sports idol and a role model to girls and boys in home in Thailand?
น้องๆหลายคนนะคะแล้วก็ส่วนมากเป็นผู้หญิงส่วนมากที่ได้ทักมาแบบพี่ต้องทำยังไงหนูอยากเก่งเหมือนพี่อะไรอย่างนี้แล้วก็มีคนรู้จักมากขึ้น
คนรู้จักมากขึ้นนี่ในไทย
ใช่
well yes her life is changed and right now it's kind of like she became like an idol especially for girls who want to be a martial artist in for example in Muay Thai and then in a day she always got several messages asking like how to become like her how to become like great Muay Thai artist like her like how to train hard and something like that she got several like support from Thai people especially from the girls
Does she
yeah and then the second one is like yes of course like many people know her more than before
does she like that? Like, is she okay with all the fame and the attention she gets now? And does she feel like a responsibility knowing that so many children do look up to her as a star? Does she, when she goes into her fights, does she feel an extra pressure? Because she wants to maintain that possibility and be this great example to kids.
แล้วก็มันเป็นจุดสนใจแต่ว่าเราเหมือนแบบมันต้องวางตัวให้มากขึ้นแล้วก็ลดความแบบ alert เติร์ดของเราหน่อยประมาณนี้อะไรที่เป็นตัวเองมันก็ต้องลดลงมาหน่อยให้แบบพอเหมาะพอสม
well she say she's okay like to being like a role model for people especially for girls but what she needs to be careful is just to act appropriate in front of everyone like for example she cannot like play around or go like too much crazy sometimes like
Yeah.
funny something like that she's just trying to act more appropriate
Okay.
to other people like to be a good role model let's say that